and focus us on Itzhak. To introduce to you Itzhak Biri. Itzhak bridges many sacred indigenous traditions entrusted to him with a relevant and present-day shamanic approach to living in our digital age. He empowers people around the world to connect to their innate shamanic gifts. He shares the conviction that we are all shamans and are able to interact and learn from the unseen and seen worlds in order to live in balance with our communities, with nature, and most importantly, with ourselves. Itzhak has been initiated into several shamanic traditions. I'm not even going to try and pronounce these because I know I'm going to screw them up. And he is also author of the new book, The Gift of Shamanism, Visionary Power, Ayahuasca Dreams, and Journeys to Other Realms. And we are very happy for his return to the Conscious Consultant Hour. Welcome, Itzhak.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's good to see you here, especially after what you just told me before the show started. It's good to see you and have you here. So I'm sure many of our audience are familiar with you because my crowd, they're pretty conscious. They're pretty aware of stuff. But, of course, there might be a few people, like I can see from the back end. We got some people from around the world, like Sweden and France and Bolivia and China. So for those people who don't know you, how did a nice Jewish boy from Israel get into shamanism?
Well, you should ask first, how come a Russian, Belarusian Polish descent, who his parents moved to Israel, who was born in Israel, came to New York and met shamans from Ecuador, Brazil, and other countries. So we are all connected.
Absolutely.
And we all have a life purpose, so life work that we do, regardless of where we come from. You know, only recently, a few years ago, I found out that my grandfather was a Kabbalistic rabbi in Poland.
Really?
And he was a healer too. And his work was really concentrated on the fight between good and evil, which is a major work that I do for quite a few years. And so the past and the present really coincidentally happened,
come together.
And I think that that's really the beauty of the work in shamanism, that we truly realize our life purpose and life work here on this earth, connecting with our ancestors' work, and hopefully we can chart a better future for our grandchildren, which I have 3 of them now. So it's a personal journey for me to make sure that at least I can do something to make their future and their children and their children to live in a world that is a little bit better place than I came into.
Yeah, leaving the world a better place than when we found it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned sort of the ancestral work and the connection. And when I was younger and very scientifically oriented, I really didn't believe much in this idea of like ancestral work and, you know, connection to our ancestors. But as I've become older, I've realized like there really is real significance and something to it. Even if on a real physical, basic level, I mean, our DNA that's in our bodies, how many generations old is that? And that's all about containing information. So it's how can we not be connected to our ancestors?
Well, for us, in Jewish people in Europe, it was cut off, you know, in the Second World War, and so we don't know what our DNA
right where we came from, because we've lost the historical record.
Exactly. So we have to reclaim that, and I think that for all of us we have to reclaim it, because all humans are native to their land. It's not that just there is native people. No. We are all native of this earth, and we all need to find our connection to our ancestor work and to their wisdom. We can't disregard their wisdom. That wisdom, that teaching that they were trying to bring back to us is what kept human race for so many hundreds of thousands of years alive.
Absolutely.
Medicine and science, what we call science today, is pretty relatively young.
Yes.
It's medicine as we know it is only 200 years old.
Right. I always kind of laugh when people talk about, quote unquote, traditional medicine versus alternative medicine. And the truth is, alternative medicine is really the real traditional medicine, is thousands of years old. And what we consider modern medicine is actually more alternative medicine, is only 200 years old.
That's right. And I just finished writing the first the manuscript for a new book that will come out next year, and it's really talks about that. It's about the return of the shamanic healing and the failure of the hit and run medicine that we are experiencing as the real thing.
Right.
But there's a rise in consciousness and need for people all over the world, that they are looking for alternative to the real way of healing. And healing is the mind, body, and spirit. It's not just injections and pills.
Right.
And you may want to think about that. The first aspirin was less than 100 years old.
Yes.
And it was really evolved through using some plants and some oil companies' product that created the pills. I don't know if you know the history of pills. No. You may want to look it up because it's very interesting.
Really?
Because originally when pharmacies, when doctors were starting to heal people, they weighed the person, they knew the person, and they created personalized medicine for each person.
Right.
It wasn't, you could not buy it off the shelf.
Right.
It is a latest invention.
Right.
And in our mind, our modern mind, because of the way we market things, we take medicine that is maybe not necessarily exactly for you, not tailor-made for you. Indigenous healing is tailor-made for each person.
Right. I'm mostly familiar with it sort of on the Chinese medicine side, since in the Wellness Center we have acupuncturists and my wife is Chinese. And, traditionally in China, it's like you went to the Chinese medicine doctor and he created a specific formula for you with this herb and that root, and then you took it home and you boiled it and you drank this sort of bitter liquid, but it was like specific for you and it wasn't for anybody else. And so this whole idea of like mass marketing a cure for something is really antithetical to traditionally the way medicine was practiced, which is how everyone is an individual, because we are all individuals, and everybody's body chemistry and makeup and environment and what they eat and everything is different. So just this idea of like that we can make something the same for everybody is really kind of silly.
Well, you can see it in not just in medicine, but you can see it in everywhere. McDonald's is the same everywhere you go. If you buy it in China or you buy it in Israel and the United States, it's the same McDonald's.
Yeah.
And American people would not go into foreign hotels with strange names, but they want to go to a specific Best Western or to Hilton, wherever they go.
Oh my God, disgusting.
So there is a familiarity and comfort in cookie cutter medicine, but it's not necessarily good for you.
Yes, exactly. Not necessarily appropriate. Okay, let us take a quick commercial break. When we come back, let's start talking about like what your inspiration was for your latest book, The Gift of Shamanism, and let's maybe even talk about just a little bit of how you got into shamanism, just your first experiences, just to tease our people a little bit, okay? So everybody, please stay tuned. You're listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, with my guest, Itzhak Beery, and we will be right back.